Hey guys, this is the notes on the preterite tense. This is your last grammar section for Spanish 2. Woohoo! So the preterite tense, I wanted to talk through this with y'all because it's a little bit, what's actually a lot different than the endings that you're used to using when you conjugate a verb. A little subnote on the title of these notes is that the preterite is called the one-time past. The reason that that would be significant is for anybody going on to Spanish 3, there is another past tense that we call the continuous past or the ongoing past. So you might hear those two, or you definitely will hear those two referenced in Spanish 3, okay? So today's goal would be that you can show understanding of the Spanish preterite tense, when to use it, and then obviously start learning how to conjugate verbs correctly in the past. This is what your note sheet looks like. That's available to you in Google Classroom. If you have a way to print it, that would be ideal. If not, then just kind of follow through this with me and copy it on loose leaf. The note sheet, that if you did print it out, you'll see there is a 4th page that has the notes for the ER and the IR verbs. Today, I want you to just stop after copying the AR verb stuff, but you can go ahead and print out the ER, IR. That'll be for later next week. We'll get to those endings. So the first question to ask is, when do you even use the preterite? So you use it whenever you want to describe an action or an event that began and ended in the past. So up until this point in Spanish, we've learned how to say things. We've learned how to say things like I talk, I am talking, I take a shower. All those things that you've learned thus far are in the present tense. So this example, an example of what this is talking about in English would be if you said I went to the store, instead of saying I'm going to the store, she swam instead of she is swimming, and then we slept. All those things would be in the past tense. These are your new endings for AR verbs. So for the yo form, you drop your AR and you add an E. And if you notice, that E does have an accent on it. So that's very important. In any of these assignments that you'll be doing with this unit, make sure that you have an easy way to either copy and paste these endings that need an accent mark. Definitely things will be counted wrong if you don't have those. And I'm going to tell you why that's important too in a little bit. So the yo form is E with an accent, and that's pronounced E. Then we have aste for the to form, O with an accent for the ella, usted form. Nosotros ending is amos. And then for ellos, ellas, ustedes, we use aron, is how you say that. Don't say Aaron, okay? So here's a verb conjugated for you to have an example. So the verb hablar means to talk. So now we're going to look at how to say I talked with an ed on it. You talked, he talked, we talked. So it would look like this. Drop your AR and you add your E for the O form. So it looks like hablé, hablaste, habló is the LA form to say he spoke or he talked. Hablamos and hablaron. Don't forget your two subject pronouns that need an accent on them. So the yo form always has an accent on the E, and then the LAI form has an accent on the O. And I'll show you why that's important. You can see here I already had something that popped up early, but in the present tense, you would say I talk. That's yo hablo, okay? You have that same verb we just saw in that T-chart. It looks like this now. Él habló. That means he talked. So I'm going to say those two words again and see if you can hear the difference. Yo hablo. Él habló. So I've taught y'all before to do like a little head nod or something when you see an accent mark to show you that you stressed or emphasize that syllable. So if you do that when you say habló, that should be easier for you to hear the difference there. Okay, so if you forget this accent over the O when you're conjugating, you just said he, I talk. Okay, so accent marks can change the word completely. Another example, I dance is yo bailo. She danced, you can see, is ella bailó. I sing is yo canto. He sang would be él cantó. Yo canto, él cantó. Here are some vocab words that are associated with the preterite tense. So we could say things that we did yesterday. That would be the word ayer. Anoche is last night. A tiempo is on time. La semana pasada, last week. El mes pasado, last month. And I think there are a few on the next slide I want you to add that might come up. Anteayer is another word we'll be using. That means the day before yesterday. Excuse me. Last year is el año pasado. And then if you did something today, like I went to the store today, Mom, you could say, use the word hoy, but you should already know that word. All right, now we're going to get into an extra step. So on top of adding our new endings, haste, o, amos, aron, there are a handful of words that are considered irregular with the AR verbs, okay? These verbs only change in the yo form. So no other subject pronoun would have this kind of spelling change that you're about to see. So the first set of words that are irregular in the yo form only, remember, verbs that end with car. So verbs that end with car and the preterite tense or the past will change to que, Q-U-E. Think for a second if you could think of a word that we've learned that ends with car. Well, like take out the trash or to play the piano. So sacar la basura or tocar la guitarra. Both of those verbs end with that. Gar verbs that end with gar, like llegar, to arrive. Gar changes to ge, G-U-E, with an accent. And then the last ones are zar verbs. So we have car, gar, zar is what I usually call these. Zar verbs change to se, C-E in the yo form. So an example of each of those would be tocar, to say I played the piano, would be toque. And if you notice here, I put in parentheses what you might want to put. If you forget that this one's irregular and has a spelling change, you would drop your AR and add an E. But this word is pronounced to say. A C when followed by an E makes an S sound. So to keep it sounding like this original verb to car, it changes to this spelling change, toque. Tocar, toque, not tose. Llegar is your example for a gar verb. Instead of saying this, which is pronounced yehe with a h sound, it's now yegue, G-U-E, now makes the g sound. And then casar, it might be a verb that you might not, that's a C, by the way. Casar changes to case, not case. If you watch the YouTube video that's at the end of this PowerPoint, there's a really funny, I say funny, I think it's funny, this group of boys that sings this rendition of I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys, but it's all about these verbs. So check that out if you have time. So here's a whole verb example of what we just talked about. So toque is the yo form, but this note at the top says that the rest of the T chart uses those regular endings that we copied at the beginning of this. So the to form would be tocaste, tocó, tocamos, and tocaron. So only this yo form is the one that's kind of funky. Okay. Gar example, llegué, and then the rest of the verb looks like llegaste, llegó, llegamos, llegaron. There are some verbs that we'll be using that you should recognize when you see this verb in the yo form. It has a spelling change. So you can pause the video real quick and take a second to copy those if you want. All right, and then the last little section on your note sheet there says to write your answers for the practice with me section. So I'm going to go through some just practice conjugating examples with you with AR preterite. So I'll do the first slide with you going over the answer, and then I want you to pause the second slide and see if you can try to answer those yourself and then check it. So this sentence says, I danced last week. So you drop your AR, you add an E with an accent. So your answer would be bailé. Number 2, Federico looked for my friends. Buscar, we drop our AR, we add our ending for Federico, which would be an O with an accent. So we have buscó. If you tried to put a Q-U-O there, you don't need to do that because it's not in the yo form. Number 3, they talked with Alicia. So the ellos ending for hablar, you drop your AR and you add aron. So ellos hablaron. Number 4, you used the computer. Drop your AR, add aste for the to form. So you would have usaste. Tú usaste la computadora. And then number 5, Juan bathed the dog the day before yesterday. That's one of our new vocab words. So bañar, you drop your AR, you're left with bañ, and then you add your ending for Juan, which is an O with an accent. So bañó. See if you can try these on your own before flipping through and seeing my answer. So take a second to try to answer that on your own. Alicia worked at the school would be trabajó. I got a bad grade last year. So sacar, see if you can come up with your own answer. Saqué. I drew a lot in art class. Drop your AR. Dibujar becomes dibujé. The teachers paid for the food. Pagar becomes pagaron. Number 10, I ate in the cafeteria with my friends, or specifically, I ate lunch. So almorzar becomes almorcé. Make sure you put that spelling change on there. Zar verbs change to CE in the yo form. The last one's here. They began to do their homework. Empezaron. You arrived at my house at 8 o'clock. Tú llegaste a mi casa. Catalina dried the clothes. Ella secó la ropa. You and I looked for the books. We looked for the books. That's the nosotros form becomes buscamos. So this one, I didn't mention this earlier, but that would also be the present tense word for looked for. So you'd have to know if this sentence, if we were saying looked for or we look for, based off of your context of what the rest of, what the conversation is that's going on. That's the only one that would be the same. So the nosotros ending stays the same as what you've learned from present tense. Ricardo and Pedro threw the baseball. This word, lanzar, means to throw. So they threw it would be lanzaron. I hunted in the winter with my dad. So yo casé, with that spelling change, zar changes to se. I arrived late yesterday, not llegué. So make sure you have that spelling change, llegué. And then the last one here with this practice is she hugged her boyfriend. Ella abrazó. So no spelling change there because it's in the ella form. Okay. Take a second to pause the video and copy down these verbs. Now, many of these you should already know. I just left you a spot to copy the meanings on your note sheet there. What I want you to do after you're done copying what all these verbs mean is to pick any of them that you want and just kind of practice making some T-charts on your own there on your note sheet. And it says to try to maybe go back and include some of those car, gar, zar verbs that you had listed from earlier. Here's the link to that song that I told you was funny. And if everything I just said didn't make sense and it went in one ear and out the other, here is an explanation by this guy, Senor Jordan. You can try to watch that and maybe he does a better job explaining. Here is 2 different links to some GimKit practice that I would advise you do. It's not for a grade, but you can kind of just play around with those 2 links. One is just, I think actually it might be a mixture of all the AR verbs we just did. And then I think the second one is specifically with the car, gar, zar stuff. If you continue on through this PowerPoint, which I'm going to flip through the whole thing while I have, this recording, you'll see you'll have all your assignments for this unit will also be in this PowerPoint and an explanation of those things. So the first thing that you have to do with this preterite stuff is on Friday, May 8th. You have this, it'll be assigned to you in Google Classroom. Everybody will get a copy of it. You have to basically, in this column here, you type your answer. So I conjugated ayudar for the to form, ayudaste. And as you can see, some colors appeared. And then I jumped down here and did we waited, esperamos. And when I type that in, when you push enter, if it's right, it'll pop up some colors. I think if it's wrong, it'll highlight it for you that you did it wrong. Make sure you use these accent marks, which really you're only going to be using the E and the O here for when you're conjugating these, like in the yo form. My dad would need an accent. So watch out for those or it won't do it right. But anyways, when you finish, it'll be a cool little picture. So it's a mystery picture. So the further you keep conjugating, you can figure out what the picture is. So today, this assignment for today, you look down here in these 2 tabs. I only want you to do AR1 and AR2, okay? And then just leave it. Don't turn it into me yet because after next week when we do the ERIRs, you're going to do the rest of these down here. So just save that assignment. Don't turn it in, but go ahead and knock out the practice with the AR ones today. All right. And then your next assignment will be on the following Monday, May 11th. You'll have a quiz on this stuff. So on the AR verbs, here's your links for that for each class. But I advise that before you do that quizzes, do this Kahoot. That will not be for a grade either, but that's just another practice that you can use to get used to those verbs. All right, so for today, you can go ahead and stop this video and stop copying your notes. The rest of these will pick up with the ER/IR on Tuesday, May 12th. I'm going to go ahead and keep recording, so it'll all be in the same video though. So next week when you come back to copy the rest, I'll tell you, go ahead and scroll to this many minutes in the video to continue copying. All right, so for the ER/IR endings for the preterite, the yo form this time is the letter I, which is pronounced E. The to form is iste. Yo is the ella form, or usted. Imos and ieron. And actually, if you see here, I think I left you two different spaces on your note sheet, one for ER endings, one for IR, but it's actually the same endings for both. So I highlighted the differences here. The I, once again, just like with the AR verbs, the yo form has an accent, and the ella form. A very common mistake is that the kids or students will see that the I has an accent here in the yo form, so they'll put it down here on the I, on the ella form. But maybe a better way to think about where your accents go is that it's always on the last letter, so it'll be on that O there. Here's a example verb for you to copy down. This would be comer. So now we're saying I ate, you ate, he ate, we ate, they ate. So we have comí, comiste, comió, comimos, comieron. Two other examples, you can pick whichever one you want to copy. Beber, so I drank, you drink, would be bebí, bebiste, bebió, bebimos, bebieron. And then we have viví, viviste, vivió, vivimos, vivieron. That word means I lived, you lived. So you can say, I drank milk for breakfast. Yo bebí la leche en el desayuno. Or I lived in Texas last year. Yo viví en Texas el año pasado. Some practice you can do there with me. Conjugate beber for the yo form. I drank a lot of water. Yo bebí mucho agua. They wrote, this is actually the word for grades, but we'll just go with it. So anyways, escribir for ellos should be escribieron. You learned to speak French. So aprender, we drop our ER and we add iste. So aprendiste. He lived in New York. Él vivió en Nueva York. And then I opened the door. Yo abrí la puerta. Here are some verbs to make sure you know what they mean. Abrir is to open. Aprender is to learn. Asistir means to attend. So if you attended a different school last year, you could say yo asistí at Dutchtown. Barrer means to sweep. You should remember that from our last unit. Beber is to drink. Comer is to eat. Those aren't new. Neither are escribir or recibir. Those mean to write, to receive. Romper, we did that with reflexive verb. This means to break. Subir, we did with la casa stuff. Subir las escaleras, that would be to climb or to go up. Vender means to sell, and vivir is to live. To kind of summarize all of the endings, here's a cool little chart I saw that color-coded the different endings. I can't remember which assignment it is that I have for y'all to do, but there's one of them that has the question with vosotros. I tried to go back and fix the ones that I could catch, but if you do see one that's asking you the vosotros endings, those are here in this chart. All right, here's another optional GIM kit practice now, like we had for the AR verbs, but this one combines AR, ER, and IR. Another optional practice is on this Conjuguemos site. You'll type your answer. So this girl's name, Mafalda, swept, it's barrió. It needs an accent. So what I did was I typed in what I thought the answer was, and then this popped up for me to add my accent on the O. And then you click check answer, and it'll tell you if you got them right. And it'll pop up another question. I think there's like 25 of them you can go through. Your next assignment that will be due for a grade is this one here. It'll be due on Wednesday, May 13th. It's a drag and drop assignment, kind of like the one we did with the body part stuff. So that was assigned to you. You have a copy of that in Google Classroom. You need to drag, these things into the appropriate spot for the endings. Another assignment that you'll have is this crossword puzzle here. You type your answer for how to conjugate your verbs here. This is what you'll see it called in Google Classroom and on PowerSchool. Another assignment that you'll have is due May 15th, these task cards. So in Google Classroom, you'll see cards that look like this, and then there will be a slide that's assigned for you to type your answers for each of those questions. And then the last thing that you'll have are these boom cards. And some of y'all struggled with this for whatever reason with the last unit, so I didn't put those in as a grade. This time, these will be for a grade, so make sure you figure it out. Your links are there. You'll type ones that look like this, you'll just type your answer. And so you take estudiar for ellos. They studied in the library would be estudiaron would be your answer. Oops. Then you click submit, and it'll say if you got it right or wrong. You can try it again if you got it wrong, and then you'll go to the next card. And then your quiz for that stuff, I don't have the links in here yet, but on May 19th, you'll have a Kahoot practice you can do before taking your quiz. That quiz will be on AR, ER, and IR. Okay. Email me if you have any questions about any of that. I'm here to help. So hopefully y'all get it going.